Well, that sucked. But we're doing our best to remember that it's still early in the season and it's only one game. And hey, the Packers are still in first place in the NFC North, so buck up, don't cry, and join us as we recap the loss against the Browns and look forward to the Dallas Cowboys next week. All this and more coming up next on your Packers Fan Podcast.
Welcome back, Packers fans. There go our hopes for the undefeated season. I'm Wayne Henderson, and let's just say that was not what was supposed to happen.
It definitely was not. Greetings, Cheeseheads. I'm Scott Clark from the Gaming Outsider Podcast, and this was an incredibly frustrating week of football. During the fourth quarter, I had expected to come here and say that I've never been so disappointed in a Packers shutting out another opponent. As it turns out, what should have been a game with the Packers keeping the Browns from scoring at all turned into a loss for the green and gold. It is what it is. On this 324th edition of your Packers Fan Podcast, we will recap the Packers' choke job in Cleveland and sharing more of your insightful listener feedback.
And then we're looking to the future. Scott and I are going to be previewing Sunday night's massive Packers at Cowboys game in Dallas. And of course, Scott's going to bring some keys to a Packers victory. Stay tuned.
All right. It was a loss, but let's try to look at some of the silver lining here. Here were the leaders of the loss against the Browns. First off, passing Jordan Love, 18 for 25 for 183 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, and a passer rating of 89.2. On the rushing side, Josh Jacobs, 16 carries for 30 yards. Receiving, Matthew Golden was at the top of the list this week, 4 receptions for 52 yards. And on defense, Quay Walker, 14 tackles, 6 of them all on his own. So let's kick things off, talk about the opening drives. This week, we started out on defense, and I was already getting nervous at this point. Cleveland was driving and just over the 50 before they were finally stopped. Thought we'd get to see Matthew Golden return the punt, but it wound up in the back of the end zone for a touchback, and Packers took over. So it wasn't a 3 and out, but it was kind of the tail of the rest of the game. This was definitely a defensive struggle the entire game. And then we got the ball. Jordan Love was sacked on second down. They forced a 3 and out. It was not a great start, but man, thank goodness for Waylon, who punted it all the way back to the 20 for a forced fair catch. And I feel like I said that watching this game at least 3 or 4 times. Man, can that kid kick.
Yes. The saving grace as far as special teams and stuff. So good. And Rashawn Gary, untouched for a 3rd down sack in the second quarter. I was getting my hopes up at this point. This is his 5th straight game with a sack. Rashawn Gary, let's hear it for him. And he had a second sack in the third quarter as well. So just the Micah Parsons effect makes things better for Rashawn Gary. So whoever gets the sack, I'm happy.
And it did take 3 quarters. Yes, 3 quarters, but the Packers finally found the end zone. This was a long, sustained drive. John Fitzpatrick caught his first touchdown pass of his career. This gave the Packers the lead 10-0 at this point. Again, third quarter, 10-0. I'm feeling pretty solid. How about you, Wayne?
Well, I was feeling relatively solid by the fact that Browns had 0 at that point, and nothing else was really going on. Matthew Golden, though, did have a clutch play in the fourth quarter. Green Bay was pinned way back inside the 10. Jordan Love found him for 30 or more yards downfield along the sideline. It didn't turn into a score for Green Bay, but it did keep the Browns from getting great starting field position. If he could have just turned a little bit the other way, I think he would have been gone, but momentum just kind of carried him out of bounds.
It was cool to see him get a little bit more ball time this week. And I mean, that is one of the positives about this game is just how spread out Jordan Love is throwing that ball, which is something I've been preaching for years. And something that I used to complain about with Rodgers is he was best when he was throwing to different receivers. And I feel like Love has not fallen into those bad habits at all. He does not have like a quote unquote favorite receiver. It's all solid and spread that ball around, keep the defense guessing. That's what I like to see. So that's about it in terms of highlights for this game. We unfortunately have to get to the lowlights. Man, I started writing notes here, and this is kind of funny. Like about halftime, I said, we got a little sloppy in the first half with penalties. It cost us a drive in the second quarter. Couldn't even get into Browns territory. Cost us another drive later in the quarter with an illegal block in the back on Dobbs. At this point, we had 4 penalties for 25 yards in the first half, and only 91 total yards of offense. And in my mind, at this point, I'm like, all right, they're going to go in the locker room, they're going to come back out. But sadly, the sloppiness continued in the second half, especially once it started raining. So Love threw the ball to 2 defenders without a Packer anywhere near him. I truly did not understand where he was going with that ball. And then in that last drive we had, Jacobs might have fumbled the ball in the closing minutes, but it was ruled that he was down. I'm not going to lie, man. I think we got away with one there. I think that was a fumble.
I think it was a fumble, but I do think he recovered it. There were so many hands. There was no definitive evidence to overturn it. So I'll take it because we're just trying not to have too many lowlights in that game. The offensive line looked absolutely awful. Jordan Love was sacked 3 times in the first half. A lot of it could be due to all the injuries on the O-line, but I don't know. And Zach Tom coming back from injury, got cleared to play. Then he got re-injured like the first or second play of the game. It's just frustrating.
Who does he think he is? Christian Watson?
Oh, no, you didn't.
Yes, I did.
Oh, man.
And then it's impossible to talk about this game without that final drive. Oh, my gosh. The field goal block with less than 30 seconds to go. All we had to do was kick, what was it, like a 35-yard field goal to, extend the lead. Actually, no, this would have been for the win. We were tied at this point, right?
I believe so. That sounds right.
Yeah. And to make matters worse, our already gassed defense allowed the Browns to march down the field and kick their own field goal to win it as time expired. Because in my mind, oh man, they blocked the field goal, but at least time is out, and we're going to go into overtime and just win this thing. We'll win the toss. I seriously was like, oh man, it's going to come down to who wins this toss because the first to score wins, And then they marched down the field and get their own field goal. It was just sickening. I was sick to my stomach. Absolutely sick to my stomach.
I was in denial at what I was seeing. I'm like, there's no way these final 3 minutes of this game are what's really happening on my screen. But apparently
Wayne,
it was.
I almost regret bringing this up because part of me wants to give you a pat on the back for not having this listed in the lowlights. But my God, the penalties. Oh my God. And I'm not pulling there were some questionable calls, don't get me wrong, but what happened to this team? Like they do not look like the same team from the first 2 weeks of Packers football.
No.
It was like 14 penalties in the game. That is absolutely disgusting. And I fully expected to come here and see on our little document here, you just like changing your font to red in bolded letters about how angry you were about the penalties. So kudos, man. I seriously, I'm proud of you.
There was just so much nonsense going on in that game that what else can you do?
Yeah.
I mean, did you hear Micah Parsons after the game? One of the things he said, and we'll change his verbiage a little bit to keep it family friendly, but he said something along the lines of winning games is hard, and sometimes your team just goes out there and you crap the bed. I'm like, well, thanks. That sounds about right.
I mean, he's not wrong at any given Sunday, right?
They got it out of their system. The pressure of going undefeated is off, and now good things rest of the way.
And by the way, Wayne, this is, I feel like I'm pulling a U when I say this, but the last time that the Packers had 14 or more penalties in week 3 of the NFL season, they won the Super Bowl. Also,
oh my gosh, who dug that up? Okay.
That same season, they lost to the Browns by 3 points and won the Super Bowl that year. Also, isn't this like Jordan Love's 27 years old this year. It wasn't
Right.
Favre 27 when he won.
And
Rodgers was 27 when he won. Yes, I know it's all stupid superstitious nonsense, but a guy can dream. That's all I'm saying.
Hey, I have my dream of doing a Packers victory Super Bowl winning episode of the Packers Fan Podcast, and this would be as good a year as any to go ahead and have that happen.
Absolutely.
So let's check in with the weekly poll question. You can find that in our Facebook group, which is at packerscommunity.com, as well as on X at Packers Fan Pod. I post it as soon after the game as I can, as well as posting the wager of fun for the next game. But anyway, as I was compiling my thoughts for the poll question and the answers and all of that, Dan Dyler happened to send me a text with some ideas along the same exact lines, only better. So I went with Dan's verbiage because, like I said, it was better. So here goes. What was most to blame for the Packers' loss to the Browns? Was it the penalties? My gosh, the penalties. The defense not getting penetration, the coach's play calling, or looking past the Browns? And then we did have a solid write-in option. I wore the wrong shirt.
Yes.
What one do you go with? What one do you go with?
Man, I feel like my answer is going to be controversial, but I'm going to say the play calling. And I have proof. I kept the receipts, Wayne.
Oh, my goodness.
The play calling in this game was awful. Awful. All they needed to do was to move the chains little by little. Quick slants, quick passing plays, passing plays behind the line of scrimmage, quick plays, run to the line of scrimmage. The only time they were successful this entire game was when they did those quick plays. That's when they scored and marched down that long sustained drive, not looking for the long bombs, not looking for, trick plays or anything like that. Fundamental football, moving the chains 10 yards at a time with quick plays, keeping the defense on their toes. That was the only time it worked. And the rest of the game, they just somehow forgot that. And it was absolutely frustrating to see. So I say 100% the coach's play calling.
Okay. I see your very valid argument for that. Still, I'm going to just go with, I think they were looking past the Browns. Even if the coaches told them all week, don't look past the Browns. We'll get to that next game with the unnamed team when we get there. But I don't know. They just look like they showed up like all we got to do is show up.
Yeah, they've sure felt like that. You guys can't be overconfident when you were the youngest team in the NFL against the number one defense in the NFL.
Ladies and gentlemen, what Scott just said. The votes after we compiled against Facebook as well as X, put them together, 42% went with looking past the Browns, followed closely. 36% of the votes said the penalties. And then 6% for the coach's play calling. That I think should have been higher, especially based on your argument. And 3% went with the defense not getting enough penetration. But in the Facebook group with a fair amount of votes, the write-in vote from Jill that was, I wore the wrong shirt, ended up getting 13% of the votes. So
that's hilarious.
That is very hilarious. Hey, you got to pick out your outfits just right.
And there you have it. Let's look at some of the comments. We had lots of comments this week. Starting off with Bill Gardner. He said, just a bad team game in general outside the defense, who was on the field way too much. No protection for Love, no established run game, no discipline, dumb penalties, and bad fundamentals all around. You really have to give it to the defenses, though. They both came to play. Yeah, if you like defense, this is definitely a great game to watch. And obviously, I would have liked the score to turned in our favor. But this was a highly entertaining football game, considering there was only, 23 points scored the entire game. Pretty impressed with that. Caleb Fisher also wrote in and said, hey, like the great Vince Lombardi said, quote, you expect us to win every game, unquote. I was upset about it before. We will be fine, but no matter what, I'm very proud to be a Packers fan. Go Pack, go. Go Pack, go indeed.
Go Pack, go indeed, Caleb. And Janelle said that she feared this. In the middle of the week, she feared this is what was going to happen. And Aaron Peterson put it very well when he said, well, they had the game in the bag, and then they acted like they had the game in the bag.
Yeah.
And that'll come back to get you. So, folks, remember to join the Packers Fan Podcast Facebook community, be part of the conversations. Again, it's at packerscommunity.com, especially for our live chat game section that we're going to have Sunday night, Packers in Dallas. We're going to preview that a little bit later, but this game has show business written all over it.
It sure does. It's going to be the game of the week, right?
Yeah.
You can be part of the PFP as well. Did you know that? You can join us, guys.
I've heard.
We want your insights. After watching the game against the Cowboys, let your voice be heard. You can either record your voice, attach it to an email, and send it to feedback@PackersFanPodcast.com, or you can call the PFP voicemail at +1 920 3-PACK-GO. The deadline for your feedback is Sunday at midnight Central, or as humanly close as possible to that as you can get. It is a Sunday night game after all, so please send it in right away. Thank you, and go Pack Go.
Go, 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 Pack, go! Man, where to begin? How about starting with disgusted? And I'm pretty sure I feel that same sentiment with a lot of Packer fans out there right now. This is the Cleveland Browns. We were 7.5-point favorites, coming off 2 monster wins against 2 very strong playoff teams from last year. There's no reason to go into this game thinking that we'd be winning. But apparently the coaching staff didn't get that memo because, and to Scott's point, I know this wasn't a bye, but this was kind of a mini bye with 10 days in between games. But the team came out flat. That was not the defense that we saw the first 2 weeks. They weren't swarming to the ball as much. They weren't getting to the quarterback. And this is an offensive line, speaking to Cleveland, that had 3 of their starters out of the game, and second string offensive lineman and a 40-year-old quarterback. I don't understand. And to Scott's point, about coming off of the bye, I looked it up. We are Matt LaFleur is 2-3 coming off of an actual bye. So, Scott was absolutely correct in talking about that and bringing that point up last week. And at the end of the day, I just feel that the coaching staff did not have this team ready to play. They were looking probably past, the Browns, probably, at Dallas, and I just don't understand. The other thing I don't understand is, why does Rich Bisaccia still have a job? I swear to God, he has to have some kind of lurid information against Coach LaFleur, because he's not even a good special teams coach, but he's also the assistant head coach. That just makes no sense. The only people on special teams that does anything good is Whalen, McManus, and the long snapper. Everybody else might as well just pack it up and go home, except for the returners, of course. Especially Bisaccia. He needs to get out of here. Personally, I still think Jordan Love is still holding the ball for too long, and obviously he held the ball way too long on that 13-yard sack where he was already at the sideline. All he had to do is just throw the ball away, and instead he just takes a 13-yard sack for no reason at all. That just doesn't make any sense. A lot of people are coming down on him for the interception he threw, but they were in man-to-man coverage, and the defenders made a really good play. He sat on the ball, and he just jumped on it. That was just an unfortunate, circumstance. The Love was reading the coverage right, and Wicks was there. The defenders made an awesome play. And, of course, what wasn't awesome is 14 penalties. And it should have been a lot more, because 3 penalties weren't even called because the LaFleur and the offense had to call timeout instead of taking a delay of game penalty. So that's another 3 penalties. And then there was 2 or 3 other instances where the Packers had 2 different flags pulled on them. So that's you're upwards. You're talking about like almost 20 penalties in one game. That again goes back to my point earlier. Coaching did not have them ready for this game at all. I also got to say, I'm not a fan of seeing these jet sweeps again, but in this instance, I feel like the offense just wasn't going anywhere, and LaFleur is just trying to do something to get the offense moving the ball down the field. But you know what? This one's behind us. It's time to look forward to Dallas and traveling down to Lambeau South to do a little butt kicking. I expect the Green Bay Packers to put belt to butt, and this is going to be a fun game to watch. a little bit of a get right game, get back into it, put this Browns game behind us, and wager of fun. Let's talk wager of fun. I want to see a 40 burger. I'm getting a little confident right now. Let's say Green Bay Packers 42, the Dallas Cowboys 21. 42-21. We're going to double their score. Go, 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 Pack, go!
Go, Pack, go indeed, Dan. Thank you so much. 42-21.
Wow.
That is a bold prediction coming off of a loss against Cleveland. Holy cow. But you know what? If you listen to Dan's voicemail, Wayne, it sounds a lot like he agrees with me that it comes down to play calling on that game.
It really did sound like that, Dan.
Just saying that. But yeah, Dan, I'm just as disgusted as you are, man. I walked away from that game going, what happened? This is not the team that walked out. Is it just the home field advantage thing that's like our thing this year?
It better not be.
Just win at home.
Right.
That's not going to happen. So, and Cleveland missing 3 starting offensive linemen, and we still, I can't even. I
know. And to think we had that horrible loss, and then we find out the Bears won, the Niners won, and the Eagles won. I'm like, oh, everything is awful. Is that how the song goes?
And I'm getting destroyed in the Packers Fan Podcast Fantasy Football League. Like, just utterly thought I had a chance for like a split second and done. And also he's talking about how Love is holding on to the ball too long. What did I say? Quick plays.
Yeah.
Just quick plays. Like, stop with this. Like, drives me nuts.
Indeed.
Go to the next voicemail. I'm getting annoyed.
Here we go.
Hey guys, David Hawkins from Arlington, Virginia. And you know what?
I am depressed.
Yeah. I think I owe everybody an apology. Last week, I called in and I said, don't sleep on the Browns, and cited some yardage statistics from their first 2 games, and I fear that I am the cause of today's loss. I am right now kind of watching the Bears and the Cowboys game and seeing the Vikings, obviously earlier, pound the Bengals. And right now, at least, the Bears are up on the Cowboys. And it's just, I think this is a write-off weekend. I just at a loss for words. I was actually in Columbus, Ohio all week at a conference and was thinking about taking an extra day and just driving up to Cleveland for the game. But now I'm pretty glad I didn't. I guess, a good time for a bye week. Going to be a lot to address. So I hope we can pull it back together. I think I had dared to let myself think about, and obviously that was a stretch, but think about, a trip to the Super Bowl. And obviously we're not, those hopes aren't dashed, but we're going to have to do a lot better than we did today. One other thing I was just going to say is that Browns uniform. I do not know who thought that one was a good idea. Others may have different opinions, and that's cool, but, I don't know. To me, it just, nothing good came to mind when I look at the uniform. I like the Browns uniform normally, but boy, they I don't know if they ought to do that one again. But anyway, guys, listen, let's get a good couple of weeks in here, and then we'll come back strong for the Cowboys. But hey, go Pack, go!
Go Pack, go! Indeed, David Hawkins, Arlington, Virginia. Thank you for recording that and sending it in. Now, of course, we do have to face the Cowboys before the bye week, but that will be a great game to get a victory on and head into the bye, and then come out of the bye to face the Bengals.
And it's our first primetime game of many this season. I think there's a stretch around Thanksgiving where we have like 4 primetime games in a row or something like that.
There's quite a few. I mean, of course, Sunday Night Football in a little over a month, we're going to Pittsburgh to play that Aaron Rodgers guy. So that'll be a a big
Who?
hyped up game. Aaron Rodgers, he used to play for the Jets. And before that,
okay. Oh yeah, I remember that.
for your Green Bay Packers, Super Bowl winning Aaron Rodgers, that guy who just, so that's a big game. So we got to avoid injuries and get the victory. David, that's funny. You're apologizing and accepting responsibility for the loss.
People are apologizing for wearing the wrong shirt. They're apologizing for calling it. Don't. Dude, don't. I don't understand the hate for these uniforms. I would take this uniform over the one where it's just a straight orange helmet. I hated that one. I don't even know if that's their uniform now. Is this their
No, that's it.
Actually,
I think that's an alternate helmet, the all brown. Normally they do wear the orange helmet. And you're right. The Browns helmet this week being all brown, the helmet looked kind of cool. But if you got a brown helmet, a brown jersey, brown pants, brown socks, it's a little too much brown. And like David said, nothing good came to mind.
Well, I see what yeah.
So it was just one of those
Browns
things.
to the Super Bowl.
I don't know if that was in anybody's mind, but David, depressed about the game, but happy that he decided not to go. So there was that. That's the way it is. So let's go ahead and look towards the future because it's going to be here before we know it. And this is going to be good. Your 2-1 Green Bay Packers are traveling to Lambeau West, otherwise known as Arlington, Texas, to face the 1-2 Dallas Cowboys, who couldn't even beat the Bears, Sunday, December 28th at 7:20 p.m. Central Time. Packers lead the series 22-17, and our rivalry against them boys started on November 13th, 1960, when we trounced Dallas 41-7. We went on to beat them quite handily the next 5 matchups in a row, which includes a couple of NFL championships games. You may have heard of the Ice Bowl, perhaps, Scott?
Yeah, I think I might have heard about it.
Pretty famous. And after that, the victories between these two teams switched back and forth over the years. And now the domination is back in our favor because Green Bay has beat Dallas in the last 5 games, including Jordan Love and company absolutely humiliating the Cowboys and their fans in that epic playoff game in Dallas, January 2024. Remember how the Cowboys fans kept reminding us that this would be their game because we haven't lost a game at home in 2 years. Packers didn't care, marched right into Jerry's world, and were beating the Cowboys 27-0 close to the end of the first half. And to paraphrase Yoda, stunned they were. Stunned.
Is there a more hated owner in the NFL than Jerry Jones? Like, I feel like even Dallas doesn't like him anymore.
No, I don't think they do. And other than that memorable game, one of my other favorite Green Bay and Dallas memories was when Dallas was nice enough to let our Packers beat the Steelers in their Arlington, Texas stadium in Super Bowl 45. Can I get a Go Pack Go?
Go Pack Go indeed. For me, the biggest memory I have in terms of Dallas outside of watching them at home, they always felt like the second Bears when I was a kid. I don't know why. It was just like they graded me in the 90s. But I don't know if I mentioned this before, but I actually used to live in Arlington. I've driven past the stadium numerous times. It's actually right near the airport. So every time I flew into Dallas, I was like right there. I heard it's a really cool place to be, especially seeing that giant Jumbotron. Didn't they have to like adjust it because like punts were... they were punting the ball and it was hitting the Jumbotron or something like that? I think
so.
Like,
yeah, some punts have hit that Jumbotron. I mean, they put the jumbo in Jumbotron with that monstrosity. And of course, since the stadium's mostly indoors, there's not really going to be a factor of weather to worry about this week. It's going to be 64 degrees outside. So even if they had a way to let in all the outside air, it's still going to be nice. So Go Pack Go. So Scott, it's imperative that you have keys to a Packers victory after this week. What do the Pack got to do?
Well, number one, the defense needs a repeat. They are not the reason the Packers lost against the Browns. They held Cleveland to a goose egg for the first 3 quarters of football. They did their job, and it's hard to fault them for running out of gas. My only ask is for the defense to do exactly what it did last week. 13 points. I know at the end it's... You can blame them for letting them march down and win the game. Hey, they did their part for 3 full quarters. So just do it again. maybe a little better. Strategy number 2, just this is more psychological, but know that the worst is behind you. I said it last week that the Cleveland defense is no joke. With that said, the offense should, in theory, have an easier go of it from here on out. That doesn't mean they should continue to be overconfident. On the contrary, the offense should come out swinging, knowing that it's time to run over the Dallas defense and have the fans pulling a Harry Dunn and saying, totally redeem themselves. I hope
Love
you
it.
got that reference.
Oh, beautiful.
And lastly, it should go without saying penalties. We can argue all day long about how many penalties the Packers deserved versus how many they actually received. But at the end of the day, they still need to get back to the fundamentals. This game showed the team's young age and overconfidence after 2 weeks. It should be a wake-up call that there are no gimmies when it comes to the NFL. My hope is that the coaching staff drill these guys over and over and over again until they get back to where they were at the beginning of the season. There you have it.
I like it. And in fact, at this very hour, they're probably getting drilled about the penalties because
I hope so.
The excellent keys to victory. And like you said, no matter how many penalties we deserved versus how many we got, there were too many that were deserved. So either way, do better, Packers. You can do it.
On to our 2025 season wager of fun. Wayne still has not agreed to wearing a kilt. I need some help from you guys out listening. I don't know if he is deleting this part from the podcast each week and nobody is writing in. Nobody is making a post about, the loser wearing a kilt. I'm all for it, guys. I have no problem doing that. I would rather do that than sing another damn song on this thing for a wager of fun. So
I just know that there's better punishments if some unfathomable thing happens and I don't win this season. So.
I don't think there's a much better punishment if you really don't want to do it, Wayne. I'm just saying, if you really don't want to do it, I need some support from the fans. But hey, last week's prediction, I predicted 27-13 Green Bay. Wayne predicted 29-14 Green Bay. It really didn't matter because Cleveland wound up winning 13-10. So the scores did not change. And in fact, everybody on the Packers fan listener section also picked Green Bay. So there were no movements at all. Wayne is still in the lead with one. Count him, one win. I've got 0, but we did have a tie. We did have a tie. And that means David Hawkins and Jay Walters are still tied for first place with 1 win apiece. So hopefully we'll get some adjustments next week. This week's predictions. I am going to say that Green Bay is going to win, but it's going to be a close one, 20-17. Not 42-21, Dan. I hope you're right, but man, I do not see a 40 burger with the offense that I saw this last week. How about you, Wayne?
For me, I think it is going to be close. I don't want it to be close, not as close as what you're saying. We're going to get 21. Dallas is going to get 15. So the Packers
15?
are going to win. Yeah, they're going to be doing 2-point conversions, trying to get caught up or whatever it takes. 21-15, go Pack, go. How about the listeners? I think people are still shell-shocked after what happened in the game in Cleveland. So we don't have too many guesses yet, but there is a post in the Facebook group where you can add your guess before kickoff Sunday night. But what do we have so far, Scott?
Wayne, I just had a brilliant idea. I don't know why we've never thought of this. The winner of the listener that wins the Packers Fan Podcast Wager of Fun gets to choose whatever happens to the person between you and me. Whatever happens to the loser. That is the incentive for winning it. They get to pick the punishment for the next season. I think that's a brilliant idea. I know the listeners are going to like that.
Scott, you are full of ideas.
I think that's a fantastic idea. So like right now, if the season were over, then Jay and David both would get to co-decide what would happen. But it all comes down to that first place win. I like it.
Keep in mind, I have 1 win and a tie.
Well, I've got a whole rack of ties upstairs, dude. It's not going to bother me. Moving on. The listener picks for week number 4 of the Packers Fan Podcast Wager of Fun. Jacob Searles also thinks that this is going to be a near 40 burger with the score of 37-17 in favor of Green Bay. Dan Dowler, as you heard before, says 42-21. Only 2 selections this week. Like you said, it sounds like everybody's still reeling from what happened this week, but be sure to get those selections in before the game starts.
And does anybody dare guess the Packers are going to get even more than the 42 that Dan Deiler is guessing?
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, man. Things tightened up in the NFC North, but we officially, I'm not just saying this, the Packers are still in first place at 2-1. The Vikes are 2-1, which is not good for anybody. The Lions are 1-1 because they are facing the Ravens in Baltimore tonight on Monday Night Football. So that's going to be a loss for the Lions. And the Bears are 1-2. Can't believe they got a win.
Hey, they looked good yesterday, man.
They played the Cowboys.
They still look solid, man. They looked good. So some other things that happened in the NFL, lots of crazy finishes. The Packers-Browns game was one of them. But there were 4 blocked kicks in the fourth quarter just during the noon games.
Crazy.
The first set of games. 2 of those were ran back for a touchdown score, which is kind of crazy. It was also like very low-scoring games in that first round. Like ours is 13-10, but it wasn't the only other low-scoring game. It was quite a few. Pretty interesting.
That was wild. And for me, I'm always happy to see one of the few cool-looking throwback jerseys. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers with their creamsicle uniforms and the pirate helmet that actually looks really cool with the knife in the mouth and all that stuff.
Hiya. Love that logo.
Yeah, the helmet is my favorite part. And I don't know if they decided to do it this weekend because it was Talk Like a Pirate Day weekend. I mean, that would have been appropriate. They could have just been doing all kinds of things. Baker Mayfield would be all about it.
I agree. I've always had fond memories of that uniform, that color scheme, everything. I thought was really great. I don't know why they went away with it.
Me too. And my grandkids, we were up visiting the grandkids and stuff this weekend. They're not old enough to remember them, and they're like, "What are they wearing?"
Yeah,
they've never seen it before.
Yeah. Also, Aaron Rodgers threw his 509th touchdown pass. And if that doesn't seem like a big deal, it actually is. This surpassed Brett Favre's fourth place spot in all-time touchdown passes in a single career record. So Aaron Rodgers only has 3 more to surpass. He's got a chance at least one of them, but we'll see how that goes. Peyton Manning is in third with 539. Drew Brees is in second with 571, and Tom Brady, they're in first place with 649. Good luck, Aaron. Good luck.
I like how you said 509 touchdowns may not sound like a lot. It sounds like a hell of a lot. And then
no, just because it was such an arbitrary number.
Well,
it wasn't like 500. It was like, just a random number. That's all I meant.
But when you combine his 509 with Brett Favre's 508, that's over 1,000 touchdowns by Packers quarterbacks. Yeah. I love it.
I should have chosen my words a little bit better, but all right, moving on. I want to talk to you guys about my other podcast, The Gaming Outsider. We have a new episode out this weekend, and we're talking about which console was better, the PS2 or the Dreamcast. Not sure if you know what either of those are, Wayne, but we're going to be debating that this week. You can also hear me talk about the remake of a game I played over a decade ago called Puzzle Quest Immortal Edition, which holds up incredibly after all these years. It's all I want to play right now. You can hear my show at the same places you listen to this one, or you can find our website at thegamingoutsider.com. And don't forget, R2V2, our video game convention, is right around the corner on Saturday, October 11th. Listen, it is $10 to get in. It is $10 for the concert. You can do both for $15. You're going to get a show with a bar. You're going to get 30 arcade cabinets to play at no additional cost. You're going to get a VR experience that you will not believe. You're going to have vendors selling video games. You're going to have video game tournaments. You're going to have awesome music. You're going to have rock band karaoke.
Nice.
Which is exactly what it sounds like. It's going to be fantastic. Head over to thegamingoutsider.com/R2V2. Our own Dan Dyler surprised me last year and showed up. Had no idea he was coming. It was awesome to see him. Will I see him again? If he comes, you should wear the outfit, man. Like, I think you should just wear the outfit. That'd be pretty awesome. We do have a cosplay contest. Just saying.
That's true. And there's got to be a video game character that kind of resembles Captain Pack Sparrow.
I mean, there was a Pirates of the Caribbean video game, so you could just go with that.
And just modify it. And again, When is the gaming expo?
It is Saturday, October 11th. It opens around 8 o'clock and goes till 5. And then the after party with the concert starts at 6 o'clock. I have 4 musical acts. Got a guy by the name of Jer Roke. He's a pianist. He does nothing but piano music, and he's incredible. I got a singer. Her name is Summer. She's coming to do a vocal a vocal set. We have a band called the Adventure Guild. They do nothing but music from a game called Stardew Valley. And then we've got our headliner is Arc Impulse, high energy rock band that covers nothing but video game music. They do a cover of Mike Tyson's Punch Out mixed with the Rocky theme song from the movies. It's outstanding. Can't wait for you guys to see it.
Check it out, everybody. Details at thegamingoutsider.com.
Thank you for continuing your support of Packers Fan Podcast. You can check out the details on how to become a PFP patron at packersfanpodcast.com/give back. Jay Walters, go Pack Go, and thank you for all of your generous support of the show. Dan Dialer, thank you, and go Pack Go to your For Your Love level patronage. We do appreciate it very much.
And thanks and go Pack goes to these Favre level supporters, Megan, Scott Bors, and Miguel Ramirez from the Opposites Attract podcast. Go Pack Go, and thank yous to our Lambo level patrons as well. Hank Davis, he's got the @Free Podcast Tools YouTube channel. Brett Connor and Joe Christensen. So if you're interested in joining in, check out the details at packersfanpodcast.com/giveback. Now, got to head on out. The Unofficial Packers Fan Podcast is not affiliated with the NFL or the Green Bay Packers. So the next best thing is you telling your friends about the Packers Fan Podcast.
Also, follow us over on Twitter. Our handle is @PackersFanPod. My personal handle is @GoCastScott, or you can follow the Gaming Outsider @TheGoCast. By the way, I'm doing this really cool thing on that Twitter handle right now, where every day I am doing a This Game in Video Game History post, at least once a day. On this day, such and such years ago, this video game is released. It's a fun look back at history. Please follow us, subscribe, set your alerts. We do that every day. It's a lot of fun. Also, Wayne's handle is @Wayne Henderson.
True.
Also, quick reminder that we ask you to send in your best Go Pack Go audio clip. Why? Because we'd love to mix it in with the ones you hear from Dan Dialer, Megan, Andre in LA, and Joe Christensen as part of the PFP community outro. Speaking of, here they are to amp us up for yet another road victory over the Cowboys.
Go Pack Go!
Go Pack Go!
Go Pack Go!
Go, 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 Pack Go!